Well, good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us tonight for this special Just for Kids presentation. I'm Amy Lynn. This evening, we are teaming up with Niswonger Children's Hospital to make sure that your kids are ready for a happy and healthy holiday season. Over the next 30 minutes, we're going to be focusing on everything from toy safety to cold, flu, and even COVID season. We do have a call-in line. If you have a question you would like answered by our local experts, you can call the number right here on your screen. We may ask your question live on the air. And we want to begin tonight by introducing our special guests. Joining us this evening, we have Tiffany Alford, the manager, the Children's Resource Center at Niswonger Children's Hospital, and Dr. Gayatri Jaishankar, medical director with the ETSU Department of Pediatrics and vice chair of pediatrics for ETSU Health. Ladies, thank you both so much for being here tonight.
Thank you.
Covering really a variety of different topics. So we're going to start by just getting to know both of you just a little bit better. So Dr. Jaishankar, let's start with you. Just kind of introduce yourself to our guests, a little bit about your position.
Sure. I'm a general pediatrician and I work with ETSU Pediatrics. I'm the medical director there and spend a lot of time taking care of children and their families.
Children of all ages. And Tiffany, I know you do the same. Tell me a little bit about your background.
So I'm the manager of our Children's Resource Center at Niswonger, which is essentially the outreach and education arm. We try to keep kids from ending up in the hospital by keeping them safe and healthy.
So you do a lot of education, a lot of outreach, and I know even to like a lot of the rural areas, really getting this valuable information out to parents.
Yes, we try to reach all of our folks across the service area that Niswonger serves, and we want to keep our kids safe and healthy.
And of course, coming into this time of year, I think after Thanksgiving, everything just shifts to that wonderful holiday season, but already starting to see sort of the sniffles, starting to see some of those flu cases. So Dr. Jaishankar, if you could just kind of tell me what you guys are seeing, sort of the state of affairs that we're seeing when it comes to illness in our kids right now.
Sure. You're very right, Amy. We are seeing a lot of the viral illnesses starting to pick up. I think at the Children's Hospital have seen COVID. We are seeing a few cases of the flu. RSV, of course, is a big player. And then all of the other viruses, the common garden variety rhinovirus, just all of the viruses are something that we're starting to see quite a bit of. As the kids go back into school, we often then also start to see strep and hand, foot, and mouth and, all of those illnesses.
And we're talking about, you mentioned the RSV, and I know last year that was a really big concern. One of those things that kind of came out of nowhere, all of a sudden starting to see all of those cases along with the flu that we really hadn't seen in a while. Are we anticipating that trend again this year?
We think it will be a bad season for RSV. However, I think we have a little bit more in our armamentarium this year. You may have heard that we have a new RSV vaccine. There's an RSV vaccine in adults. There is actually an RSV vaccine that you can take when you're pregnant, when you're 36 weeks pregnant, and you can talk to your doctor about it, and it helps protect you as well as your unborn baby. And then there is also a new RSV vaccine for little babies that has just been approved and is available. Because of how much excitement there is to try and protect these children, there is a little bit of difficulty with availability, but we are already vaccinating some of the kiddos that may most need it. So our littlest ones in the NICU, our sickest babies are all getting protected with the RSV vaccine.
And of course, when it comes to vaccine, I know education is so important, and that's really where you come in, Tiffany, and spreading those words and trying to protect our kids. What advice do you have for parents when it comes to trying to protect them from all of the things that are kind of all the way around? And we were talking about germs, and just especially coming in from Thanksgiving, I feel like that's that big family time when we're sharing everything. Then we send them back to school for the next 3 weeks, right?
Yeah, so we always tell kiddos, I get the opportunity to go out to schools and do education with kids sometimes, and I always remind them to wash their hands, make sure they're not sharing food and drink with their friends, and that's a big thing after Halloween and stuff with all of the candy, and just as they try new holiday snacks, we want to remind them that while sharing is great, we don't necessarily want to share our snacks and our drinks with our friends.
And all of our germs.
Yes, and all of the
We
germs.
try so hard. I know, it seems like an endless task. But really, when we're talking about those respiratory things that we're really worried about, that's the most common way that we're spreading those.
It is. I think it's in the air. And so using simple common sense things, I think, making sure that if you're sick, to try and not be around other people who may get very sick. If your kids are sick, making sure that you're not taking them to visit grandparents or other people who may get more sick with it. I think all of those simple things are usually helpful, in addition to the good hand washing and, avoiding crowded places that may have a lot of sick people. I think if there's one good thing that came out of COVID, it's the fact that we can judiciously mask. And so, using a mask when you need to maybe prevent your germs from spreading to others, or really trying to avoid getting other people's germs to yourself, it is helpful.
Are you seeing those in schools too when it comes to trying to protect kids? Is it okay now for kids to, if they're thinking that maybe they're just getting over something, to go ahead and send your child in a mask?
I think that's definitely there. The CDC has some really great guidelines of, what to do for sick days and how to make sure that you're keeping yourself safe and the kids safe. So, yes, I believe, although there isn't universal masking, really using a mask when you need to is a very effective way of spreading disease, of preventing that spread of disease.
Okay, and we're going to continue to talk about cold, flu, and sort of COVID season. We're going to switch gears just a little bit, talking a little bit about education with the holidays coming up, toy safety, some of those big messages, Tiffany, that I know you're trying to get and push out to families.
So toy safety is a big thing this time of year. I know Black Friday's over, so everybody's in the full swing of shopping for gifts. We really want to push how important it is to be mindful of those age limits on toys. They're there for a reason. So they're there because of those small parts that could easily become a choking hazard, and a million different things that go with that as well. A big thing is to make sure if you're gifting a riding toy, so a bicycle, a scooter, a four-wheeler, those kind of things, make sure you gift a helmet with that, because we want to promote safety. And then another big thing is the water beads, or the gel beads are a big thing, so that you have like the gel bead blasters. Those can actually pose a really severe risk, because if they're swallowed, they can actually swell inside the intestines and it can create a blockage. So not only do we need to watch out for that with the kids that are receiving them as gifts, but also siblings. So be mindful of the toys that you're opening around the younger siblings also.
Yeah, I've been seeing those on the market, and then seeing the little gel things that do come along with them. So that's really important to note, because they almost look like little gummies.
Or like sprinkles or something that
Yeah.
turn into gummies. Yeah, so they can swell, and so a lot of times you don't always realize they've swallowed them until it starts to swell, and they have those side effects of that.
So that can be dangerous.
And along the lines of that, button batteries, toys that have batteries in them, they're supposed to be childproof and not able to unlock it easily, but those are some of the biggest hazards we see when kids swallow things like batteries. That can be a really, really big deal. And to have your doctor go down into the gut and fish it out is not something you want to look forward to for the holidays.
Yeah, that's really can be, and I know they have those in key fobs and things like that as well. You need to be real
Key
careful.
fobs, remote controls, the singing holiday cards sometimes will have them. Remote controls for different automated toys, and they burn that esophageal lining, so it can be really detrimental. So we really just want to keep button batteries up and away, or anything that could have button batteries in it, up and away from the kids.
So it's not just Legos. I mean, I feel like I always remember the little pieces, but there's a lot of toys that have those hidden dangers that we may not think about.
Yeah, for
Right.
sure.
All right, well, this is a good time. We're going to take a quick break. I've been hearing the phones ring, so I think we've gotten some questions. We're going to get to those questions when we come back right after the break. So stay with us for this Just for Kids presentation here on News Channel 11.
You can't pick when you get sick, like in the middle of the night. But with Ballad Health's virtual urgent care, you can choose to get care from home, in your PJs. No driving, no waiting room. Choose one of 2 easy virtual options. With online quick care, answer questions online and get a response within an hour. Virtual urgent care lets you visit by video with a provider face-to-face. Just make an appointment online, even at night. For more details, go to balladhealth.org/telehealth.
We are Ballad proud. Proud of our team members, proud of their accomplishments. Award-winning healthcare across the Appalachian Highlands. Nationally recognized for quality care. From quality measures to clinical outcomes, the awards are stacking up, building a legacy of superior health. We are Ballad proud.
The Niswonger Children's Network is growing. We've added new pediatric ERs in both Kingsport and Bristol. We're adding 2 new floors to our children's hospital in Johnson City. And across the region, we're working with medical providers and community partners so even more kids get the quality care they need. Yes, the Niswonger Children's Network is growing, just like our patients. Learn more at balladhealth.org/hope rising.
All right, welcome back to our Just for Kids presentation tonight. Again, we're talking about a lot of different topics. We're talking about the holidays, toy safety, cold and flu season, all important topics as we get ready to enter into December. If you have questions for our experts, you can call the number here on your screen. That's 1-888-903-9545. And once again, we'll introduce our guest tonight. We have Dr. Gayatri J. Shankar, the Medical Director with ETSU Health, also the Vice Chair for ETSU Pediatrics, and Tiffany Alford, the Manager from the Children's Resource Center at Niswonger Children's Hospital. Once again, ladies, thanks for spending some time with us this evening. Hearing from a lot of viewers, a lot of people asking some questions. One of the things we wanted to get to, somebody called in asking about car seats. We, of course, continue to hear more and more about car seats maybe not being properly installed. We have the best of intentions, but sometimes those things can be tough. So your advice for making sure that they're getting those installed correctly?
So luckily, as part of Niswonger Children's Hospital and Niswonger Children's Network, we have a lot of CPSTs, or Certified Child Passenger Safety Technicians, spread throughout the service area. I am one of those, and we have several at different hospitals and doctor's offices and things. So you can always go online and call the Niswonger Children's Resource Center. That you can find that number online, and we would be happy to check your car seat. It's completely free. We're there to provide education and make sure that you know how to install it correctly. So making sure it's installed tightly, making sure the child is in there snugly. And a big thing with the holidays too is not putting the puffy coats on them when they're in the car seat, because that can keep the harness straps from fitting snugly. So we recommend, you can put it on them backwards after they're buckled in, or you can keep a blanket in the car to put over them.
Kind of sift it in there, right? Wrap them up like a burrito. Yes, exactly.
Yes.
To keep them, especially on nights like tonight. It is so chilly out there tonight. And when you're talking about car seats too, important to know the different types of car seats and when to move them and weights. And so I always just push it to you to just kind of tell me. So you guys have great information on that?
Yeah, so obviously there are state guidelines for our area. Tennessee and Virginia do have a little bit of different guidelines. You can find those online, but I'm always going to tell you, and any child passenger safety technician is going to say, follow the highest manufacturer allowed height and weight limit. So whatever the upper height and weight limit that the manufacturer says a child can be in that car seat until, go with that. Don't switch them when they're at the minimum. I know sometimes it can seem easier to switch them to forward facing, but it's just not worth the safety risk. So just stick to that highest height and weight limit.
All right, some good information. And now we're going to go back to another caller that had some questions about RSV, talking about the vaccine. Important to note, of course, vaccinations this time of year, talking flu shots, COVID, RSV, just kind of your insight when it comes to all these different vaccines.
Oh, vaccinate, vaccinate. Get that flu shot. Stay protected. Children and babies who are over 6 months old can get the flu vaccine. The first year that you have it, if you're over 6 months old, you get a dose now and a booster dose in a month. And then it's a yearly vaccine. And really, if you have a baby under 6 months old, our best way to protect that child from the flu is actually for all of the family members to get their flu shot. So if you haven't got it, this is the time to go get it. Go to your doctor, go to Walgreens, get the flu shot. The RSV is a new vaccine on the market this year. We are very hopeful that it's going to do a lot of good and really keep down that burden of RSV disease that we saw last year. Having said that, it is available, but not in huge quantities yet. And so, if you look at the American Academy of Pediatric Guidelines and the CDC guidelines, they are suggesting that we start vaccinating those most at risk first and then kind of get it available to everyone. And so if you have a really tiny baby, if your baby was premature, if they were early, if they have some significant congenital heart disease or other problems, your baby may qualify to get it sooner than the others. The wonderful thing about this RSV vaccine that we've had this year, and this is how it's different from in past years, is that all babies under 8 months old could qualify to get it, and it's a one-time dose that lasts you all season. We have had RSV vaccines, or what we call RSV immunoglobulin, in the past, and it used to be that you would do a monthly dose all through the RSV season, but this is a one and done. So we're hoping it'll really help us and do a lot of good to prevent RSV.
And that, you said, has been pretty recent?
Yes. It was, I think, came out on the market in August and was authorized for use in September. So really, really hot off the press this season.
And one of the questions that we got was someone, obviously, I think, taking an infant into a child care center. Maybe we could talk about just other ways, too, that we can protect our babies, our younger toddlers who are in those child care centers when you know they're surrounded. That age is so hard to protect them.
It is. And so I think routine vaccination is important. So any routine vaccines that they need, we sometimes forget. We look for new things on the market, but making sure that your DTaP, your diphtheria, tetanus, and pertussis is caught up, making sure that your Haemophilus and your pneumococcal vaccine is caught up. Those are all bugs that cause ear infections, pneumonia, meningitis, so it protects against a whole bunch of those diseases. So really making sure that you're caught up with your recommended required routine vaccines is really important. And then, of course, if you're in the age group or if you qualify to be able to get an RSV vaccine or a flu vaccine or a COVID vaccine, we would definitely recommend staying caught up with it because it helps prevent disease. It really helps keep you safe.
Is there anything else, Tiffany, too, that you can add to that, just from that education parental standpoint when you're taking your child to a daycare center?
Obviously, just always make sure and educate yourself on the practices of wherever you're taking your child to. Be aware of what they do to try to prevent the spread of things and ask those questions.
All right, important to ask questions. All right, we're going to take a break. We've had some other questions come in. We're going to try to get to those. We still have plenty of time here on our Just for Kids special, so we'll be back right after this.
We are Ballad proud. Proud of our team members, proud of their accomplishments. Award-winning healthcare across the Appalachian Highlands. Nationally recognized for quality care. From quality measures to clinical outcomes, the awards are stacking up, building a legacy of superior health. We are Ballad proud.
The Niswonger Children's Network is growing. We've added new pediatric ERs in both Kingsport and Bristol. We're adding 2 new floors to our children's hospital in Johnson City. And across the region, we're working with medical providers and community partners so even more kids get the quality care they need. Yes, the Niswonger Children's Network is growing, just like our patients. Learn more at balladhealth.org/hoperising.
You can't pick when you get sick, like in the middle of the night. But with Ballad Health's virtual urgent care, you can choose to get care from home, in your PJs. No driving, no waiting room. Choose one of 2 easy virtual options. With online quick care, answer questions online and get a response within an hour. Virtual urgent care lets you visit by video with a provider face-to-face. Just make an appointment online, even at night. For more details, go to balladhealth.org/telehealth.
Hi, welcome back to our Just for Kids presentation tonight. Once again, covering a variety of topics as we sort of jump into the holiday season. And once again, we have Dr. Jay Shanker here with us, as well as Tiffany Alford. And ladies, once again, thanks for coming tonight. A lot of questions coming in, a lot of questions about car safety as well, and certainly we want our kids to be protected behind the wheel when we are traveling for the holiday season. Somebody was asking about children and car seats and wondering, I think one has outgrown a car seat and now has a newborn, and wondering if that's something that we can pass down to siblings.
So car seats definitely do expire, and a lot of people don't realize that. It's not food. Why does it expire? Well, that plastic can wear down over time, especially if you're leaving it in a hot car, and then regulations and guidelines can also change. So car seats have a shelf life or an expiration date of usually about 6 to 10 years from when it was manufactured, and you should be able to find that on a sticker on the side of your car seat, and so you can see that there. And if it doesn't say an exact expiration date, you can go to the manufacturer's website and look up their expiration dates for their car seats. So we definitely don't want to use expired seats. If you can't find those stickers, it's a good chance that it may be time to just go ahead and replace that car seat because you don't truly know all of the information around it.
And I know you're a great outreach too if there's some financial issues and trying to get a new car seat. There's a lot of different organizations that can help to make sure your child is in a proper car seat.
Yeah, we're happy to connect you to resources. We're happy to assess and see if your car seat is adequate for what your child needs and what your family needs, and we can always go from there, but we're happy to work with you however we need to.
All right, and our next question, did you have something you wanted to add?
And we work hand in hand with the Children's Hospital. We connect to their resource center. We have a resource team in our clinic, and we're really able to help find the resources and provide those resources. For sure, if you think the car seat has been in a traffic accident of some kind or in a wreck, then you do not want to use it, and that automatically makes it unsafe.
And I think we're so blessed in this area to have so many different organizations that are willing to reach out and help you if you have some of those needs, to at least get connected to the resources that can help you in that situation. Our next question is talking about children being left home alone, talking about a specific age. Can they start leaving their kids home alone? What do you guys recommend when it comes to that for kids?
I think from our standpoint, obviously follow any state guidelines, double check on that because we can't speak to that, but what we can speak to is making sure they're prepared. So our Children's Resource Center offers things like safe sitter classes, and that's an all-day class for 5th to 8th graders where we talk to them about how they can be safe at home, whether by themselves, taking care of a sibling, or if they want to go out and babysit. So we go over things like choking rescue and how to know what's an emergency and when you should call a backup adult and that kind of thing. So I think resources like that are a great opportunity, and you can always keep an eye on the Niswonger Children's Hospital social media, and that's where we post when we're having those classes.
It's always hard to know.
It is, and there are, like the classes, books out there. So, I would so encourage you, look for something that you can then have your teenager read or have your adolescent read that might help them get prepared. So you don't want to do something just out of the blue.
And baby steps is always good, right?
Yes.
Yes, maybe just, parent walking across the street for 15 or 20 minutes first, seeing how well it goes. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to take a few more questions, and we will be back right after this to answer our last minute questions here for Just for Kids.
The Niswonger Children's Network is growing. We've added new pediatric ERs in both Kingsport and Bristol. We're adding 2 new floors to our Children's Hospital in Johnson City. And across the region, we're working with medical providers and community partners so even more kids get the quality care they need. Yes, the Niswonger Children's Network is growing, just like our patients. Learn more at balladhealth.org/hoperising.
You can't pick when you get sick, like in the middle of the night. But with Ballad Health's virtual urgent care, you can choose to get care from home, in your PJs. No driving, no waiting room. Choose one of 2 easy virtual options. With online quick care, answer questions online and get a response within an hour. Virtual urgent care lets you visit by video with a provider face-to-face. Just make an appointment online, even at night. For more details, go to balladhealth.org/telehealth.
We are Ballad proud. Proud of our team members, proud of their accomplishments. Award-winning healthcare across the Appalachian Highlands. Nationally recognized for quality care. From quality measures to clinical outcomes, the awards are stacking up, building a legacy of superior health. We are Ballad proud.
All right, welcome back. Just a few minutes left tonight. Really getting a lot of phone calls on a lot of different topics as we come into a very busy season. One of the things that we do want to talk about before we run out of time, though, is some mental health and some of the issues that we're seeing and some of the things that we can do to make sure our kids are happy and safe and that they're, of course, not going through any of those things. So just a couple of comments for us.
So it's a lovely time of the year, right? It's a wonderful holiday season. Everybody looks forward to it so much, but with it comes excitement and frenzy and maybe disruption of routines. And so I think it's important to make sure that you have routines and structure still, even through the holidays. You know, kids are out of school. Well, if they lack sleep, they're going to be tantrumy and they're going to have trouble with behavioral problems. We're already busy trying to cook and plan these meals and buy presents and go out shopping and plan travel. And if on top of that we have our children having behavioral issues, then it becomes all a bit too much. So I think still making sure that you're sticking with food routines, with sleep schedules becomes really important during the holiday season. And it's a really good time to spend special time with your family. So, you know, form memories, have like traditions that you can then follow that your child will remember. Do simple things. It doesn't have to be going out and buying a bunch of expensive presents. Sometimes the best present is something that you sit down with your child and make, you know, maybe the most treasured one for the grandparent. Bake a favorite dish, you know, cook a meal with them. Of course, trying to maintain safety at that time, making sure that hot things are not near the counter, that you're careful around fire. But, you know, form these special memories, do special things with them. It's family time, so go out, you know, go sledding, do something fun, play a board game. Just time to spend with them. I think that's really important for mental health. And parents are role models, so they look to you and take your cues from you. So look after yourself in the process.
All right, well, certainly some important information. Ladies, we want to thank you so much for your time tonight. We covered a lot of ground, and we have a lot of questions that also came in, so we're going to continue to answer those questions through emails and things like that. Thank you, Tiffany, Dr. Jaishankar, thank you so much, and happy holidays to both of you.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays and Merry Christmas.
And thank you so much for joining us, everybody. For more information, you can visit balladhealth.org.